Well, good morning, Stony Creek family. With this morning's service being canceled, we thought it would be good to put together this video update and let you know a few things that are happening and where we'll be going from here, and even some of how these decisions are made. We have, as I know you have as well, been following closely the developments of the coronavirus and what that means for us as a faith family. In deciding to cancel the service this morning, we didn't want to be driven by fear. Our desire was that we would be wise and that we would be driven by love. Love for our seniors, love for those most vulnerable among us, and love for our medical doctors and our hospital workers in our community. So this decision to cancel this morning was a difficult decision to make, but we felt it was the most loving course of action that we could take as a church family out of love and concern for others and our community. Now, what does that mean for next Sunday? We still don't know for certain, but we'll continue to be in contact with public health officials, and we'll keep you updated as decisions are made. If Sunday gatherings will continue to need to be canceled, we'll be working on putting together a plan for sharing updates with you and recording God stories and sermons, and if possible, and Lord willing, moving our service online through a live stream. In light of recommendations that we have already received from medical doctors and public health officials, we did want to let you know that we have made the decision to cancel all ministries, prayer meetings, and non-essential events happening at the church this week. So prayer meeting on Tuesday morning, badminton on Tuesday evening, the church family drop-in on Wednesday morning, prayer meeting on Wednesday evening, and ladies' Bible study and evening edition on Thursday will all be canceled this week. Again, this was not an easy decision for us to make, but it's a decision that we felt was necessary in order to act in the best interest and love for especially those who are most vulnerable to the more severe outcomes of the coronavirus, and also to look out for our health care officials in our city as well. It's good, though, to pause and to be reminded in times like this that, yes, we need to be wise. Yes, we need to be diligent, but we have no reason to fear or to panic. We serve the God who is sovereign over all, and He's still on His throne. We may not know what tomorrow will bring, but we know the one who holds our tomorrows. And so let's rest in that truth. And let's keep in mind as well that throughout history, the church has been a light and a hope to our world in difficult times like these that we find ourselves in right now. And one of the ways I want to encourage you as a faith family, as our church family, to be the hands and feet of Jesus, is to check in with seniors in our church family and to check in with seniors in your neighborhoods and give them a call and see if there's anything you can do to assist them with any needs that they might have. A few other updates I want to let you know about. First, just by way of announcements, we have opened our day camp registration this week. Our day camp, Lord willing, will be happening from July 20th to the 24th. And it's for kids entering SK to grade 6. If you have kids in that age range and you're wondering what to do with all of your free time right now, you can go over to stonycreekbaptist.com and you can register your kids from there. We opened registration just on this past Thursday, and we already have 90 kids registered, so you probably don't want to wait long before registering your kids for that. Secondly, I know that many of you have heard this already, but if you haven't heard yet, one of our dear members, Loretta Kerslake, went home to be with the Lord this past Wednesday evening. And so we want to be praying for the Kerslake family. As of right now, the visitation is scheduled for Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. right here at the church. And the funeral service will be Friday at 2:30 p.m. and also here at the church. And we're going to be in touch with family and the funeral home as well. And in the event that needs to be postponed, we will let you know as soon as we know. We were planning to start our Easter series this morning, a series that we're calling This Is Love. And we'll be looking at the events that took place on Good Friday. And the text that we were going to look at this morning is when Jesus, after celebrating the Passover meal with his disciples, he was in the Garden of Gethsemane praying. And knowing what was ahead for him, he was asking his Father to take this cup from him. But then what Jesus does is he rests in complete surrender. He says, "But not my will, Father, but yours be done." And as the story unfolds, Judas comes with many men armed and they have clubs and swords to arrest Jesus. And the ironic thing about that is they're coming to arrest the one who made the metal and the wood that those clubs and swords were made with. And as the soldiers come, Peter pulls out his sword. He attacks one of the soldiers and he slices off his ear. Jesus rebukes him. He says the kingdom of God doesn't advance that way. The kingdom of God advances through love. And even as Jesus endures the pain of what's going to happen to him, in the midst of that, Jesus reaches down and he heals the soldier's ear. In other words, even as his death approached, Jesus wasn't too busy to help someone in their time of need. He takes the time and he heals this man's wound. And as this happened, Jesus says something to Peter, something that profoundly shapes the way that we can read the rest of the events of Good Friday. Jesus says in Matthew 26, verse 53, he says, "Do you not think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once send more than 12 legions of angels? Do you not realize that I can just call on my Father and he'll send more than 12 legions of angels to come save us from these men who are trying to hurt us or arrest me with these silly swords and clubs? Do you really think that these swords and clubs can hold back an army of angels?" What Jesus is telling us is that any moment there's an army of angels at his disposal that he could call on at any moment if he wanted, and they could come and rescue him from the cross that he's headed to. And why this is profound, what this tells us is, at every moment, Jesus is in control. At every moment, as Jesus is mocked, as he's spit upon, as he's beaten, as he's crucified to a Roman cross, through it all, at every moment, there was never a point he wasn't in control. And I pray that that speaks into your life at this time as well, to keep in mind the truth that at every moment and at every point of your life, he is in control. Your life is in his hands. Over COVID-19, Jesus is sovereign over that. And as we prepare our hearts for Easter and we see what Jesus went through on the cross, keep in mind as we read these events and as you read them in your devotional time, keep in mind that Jesus is not a helpless victim who can do nothing to save himself. But through it all, he was in complete control of every moment and every point. What drove Jesus to the cross wasn't the hands of his enemies. It was love. Love drove him to put our interests ahead of his own by dying a sinner's death on the cross that he didn't deserve, but he did it for you and for me. He could have stopped it at any moment, at any point, if he wanted to look out for himself, but he chose not to. And this is love. Not that Jesus died as a helpless victim at the hands of men, but that Jesus willingly allowed himself as creator and king to suffer and to die for our sake. So let me encourage you as you prepare your hearts to celebrate all that Christ did on that first Easter weekend. May you be reminded of that truth. And may you be reminded in these days that God is on his throne, that he is in control, and that we, along with all of creation, groan for the day when Jesus returns again, and every tear will be wiped away. Disease and death will be done away with once and for all, and we will spend eternity with him in the new heavens and the new earth, free of pain, free of COVID-19, free of death. And until that day, my encouragement for us as a church family is to live in light of that day. Let's live by putting others ahead of ourselves. And let's work toward the advancement of his kingdom by loving others the way that he has loved us, and to care for others the way that he has cared for us. May the Lord bless you. May he keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Lord willing, we'll see you next week, either by video or in person, but we'll see you next week.